Alright, so I've lurked here forever and never thought I'd have something worth posting, but after what happened at work last month I just have to get it out. If you're one of those, pics or didn't happen, types, sorry, you'll have to settle for my wall of text. This is long, but trust me, it's not a next day revenge story. This took months. Buckle up. Setup asterisk. I work at a mid-sized tech company, think 200-ish people in our building, lots of teams, lots of bureaucracy. For context, I'm pretty introverted and not the type to start drama. I've been here almost 4 years, mostly doing back-end dev. I'm not a superstar but I pull my weight and get along with everyone, at least I thought I did. Early last year, we had this massive project assigned to our team, basically reworking an ancient legacy system so it could actually talk to our newer services. It was a big, hairy mess and honestly, it was the kind of thing that could really make someone's career if they did it right. Anyway, my manager, Janice, asked me to take lead. I was stoked, and I spent a ton of time mapping it out. Documentation, flowcharts, design docs, the works. I even set up a bunch of meetings to get buy-in and feedback from the other teams. Enter, Brad. Not his real name, obviously. Brad's been with the company maybe 1.5 years, came in as a senior, but honestly, he's more of a PowerPoint guy than a coder. He's got the gift of gab, very corporate. I always thought he was harmless in that kind of, talks a lot but doesn't do much, way. About a month in, Janice brings Brad onto the project, says we're short-handed. Fine, whatever. I share all my docs with him, catch him up, and assign a few modules his way. He mostly just nods and says, great work, a lot. Fast forward 5 months. I'm not exaggerating, I poured everything into this project. I basically lived in that code base, writing up technical notes, troubleshooting, demoing. We actually finished it ahead of schedule, which was a minor miracle. Failed attempts to resolve asterisk. Here's where things started to feel off. We had the big project review. Janice asks me to put together a summary presentation. I build all the slides, put all the stats in, and, because I'm dumb and trusting, I upload it to our shared drive. The morning of the meeting, I log in and the file has been updated. Guess whose name is on the title slide now? Brad. He's even added his name to lead developer on 2 slides, and mine is moved under contributor. I swear my heart started pounding. I message Brad and ask, hey, did you edit my deck? He replies, yeah, just streamlined it a bit, hope that's cool. See you at the review. I message Janice too, but she's in meetings and doesn't respond. At the actual review, Brad does like 80% of the talking. He hits all the points I wrote. When I chime in to clarify technical stuff, he cuts me off with, right, as I mentioned earlier, or just pivots to something else. Janice seems to buy it. I'm fuming. Afterwards, I pull Janice aside. I say, hey, I noticed Brad changed the deck and took credit for a lot of the work I did. She kind of waves it off, you both contributed, Brad's just more comfortable presenting. Don't worry, I know you did a lot. Okay, whatever. Maybe I'm overreacting. I figure, just keep my head down, right? But then a week later, the company sends out the internal newsletter. There's a write-up about the project. The photo? Brad. The pull quote? Brad. The lead credit? Brad. That was my tipping point. I bring it up with Janice again, but she says, look, Brad's just more visible. I'll make sure you're recognized in your next review. I ask her to clarify, and she changes the subject. Escalation asterisk. A month later, there's a round of promotions. Guess who's now lead solutions architect? Brad. Meanwhile, I get a standard 3% cost of living raise and a thanks for your hard work email. I wish I could say I handled it gracefully, but I was crushed. I literally went out to my car and just sat there in silence. It wasn't just the promotion, I felt invisible. So I did what I thought was the adult thing. I wrote down all the stuff I'd done on the project and scheduled a meeting with Janice. I laid it all out, showed the doc history, Git commits, the calendar of meetings I ran, emails with clients. Her face was, honestly, unreadable. She said, "I see your point, but Brad's leadership qualities really stood out." That's when I realized I was on my own. The plan asterisk. I spent a week stewing. I started doubting myself, maybe I'm just bad at office politics. But I kept coming back to the fact that everything in that project, from design to code to documentation, had my name on it. Brad barely touched the code base. I had receipts. So, I started documenting. I know that sounds boring, but hear me out. I exported all my GitHub and Jira activity. Every commit, every ticket, every pull request. You can literally see my name on 90% of it. I pulled all the emails where I was assigned lead. Even calendar invites from Janice. I went through the shared drive and downloaded every version of the design docs, with my name in the metadata. I screenshotted the final presentation, with Brad's edits, and the version history showing my original. I collected Slack messages where Brad asked me for explanations on his modules. I built a timeline. I even made a spreadsheet showing who did what. Once I had my little archive, I called HR. I was nervous because I know how this stuff usually goes, i.e., nowhere, but I figured I had nothing to lose. Execution asterisk. HR set up a meeting for the following Monday. I went in, laid everything out, and, this part is embarrassing, I actually started shaking midway through because I was so worked up. But the HR manager, Leah, was super professional. She asked for copies of everything. She told me I did the right thing by coming to her and that she'd investigate. I didn't expect much, honestly. But things started happening fast. HR started pulling activity logs. Apparently, they called in Janice and Brad for routine manager check-ins. I kept my head down, just did my work. A few days later, Leah emailed me and asked a couple more clarifying questions. Then radio silence for a week. Then, out of nowhere, Janice called me into her office. She looked stressed. She said, "There's been a review of the project credits. HR may reach out for additional info. Just be honest." Weird phrasing, but whatever. I don't know exactly what happened behind closed doors, but suddenly Brad stopped talking to me. He used to CC me on everything, now nothing. Janice stopped mentioning leadership in meetings. Things got really tense. Aftermath asterisk. A week after that, HR called me back in. Leah said, "We've completed our review. Thank you for your thorough documentation." She said they'd found significant discrepancies between reported contributions and actual work performed. She didn't give details, obviously HR has to be vague, but she said appropriate action had been taken. That Friday, I noticed Brad was out of office. Monday, he was still out. By Wednesday, his email bounced. Then they sent out a company-wide memo, "Brad is no longer with the company, effective immediately. We thank him for his contributions." Oh, and the internal project page. Updated. My name, now at the top as lead developer. There was even a retroactive announcement in the following newsletter. Picture, me, honestly, I hate photos but whatever. Pull quote, me. Janice got moved off our team to focus on special projects. Our new manager actually sat down with me, asked if I wanted to take on more leadership. She made it a point to say I'd been under-recognized. I got a mid-year adjustment, plus a bonus. I know this all sounds like a brag, but I honestly still feel weird about it. Brad wasn't a monster, but he screwed me over, and Janice just let it happen. Maybe I went too far, but after being ignored for months, I wasn't going to let it slide. Anyway, if you're ever in a spot where someone takes credit for your work, document everything. And don't just hope it'll work out. I almost let it go, and I'd still be invisible. Thanks for reading if you made it this far. I still kind of can't believe this all went down, but yeah, sometimes the system actually works, if you push hard enough.